First of all, sub-DNA says you can't hear me, but apparently you can. So what's going on here? Second, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, what you're basically saying is that we ought to ask permission, of the being that we're creating before we create it. And since that's impossible, it's just a null request. I mean, it just doesn't fucking make any sense.
That's not the point, though. You don't ask the being you're creating. What you do is you take responsibility for your acts. So you say, is the world I'm putting the kid into a better place? Is it prepared for him? Do I have the resources to improve the odds? Okay, so let's change the game show metaphor, and let's say that, okay, there's certain things that Remy could do going into the game show, okay, to increase the odds that he won't roll snake eyes. Okay, and he might even be able to, theoretically, eliminate one of the ones on one of the dice and make it impossible to roll snake eyes. Okay, I mean, we can control psychology, all right, and we can you can make it pretty damn sure that you'll never even create another one of me. All right, I just don't want you people who are benign on the subject, or you people who are pro, let the reproducers just keep reproducing. I just don't want to keep waking up on planet Earth. I don't want to keep, turning 5 years old and saying, "Oh, here I am again, back in the shithole, playing the dumb game again." Where I'm going to have to yell at all these fucking dumb cunts all over again. I mean, I'm sure I've done this over and over and over again through the centuries. I've been, running around, with my bare ass showing, telling people, "You fucking assholes, come on, grow a brain. This is fucked.
You surprise me sometimes. I mean, you always sound like you believe in reincarnation, and I know you don't believe in that. It's just the way you're talking. But I don't know, man. Maybe we can agree on something here. If you're talking about being responsible about bearing children, man, I'm all for that. And there are people who are just not in a position to ensure sort of minimal conditions for the kids they're bearing, so they just should ought to do it. But that's not really where you're coming from, because your critique of life is a lot more radical than that. You're saying there's no way to win the game because all the positives are bullshit and all the negatives are real. So nobody ought to bear children.
Yeah, well, I'm saying the game show shouldn't be on TV. All right, but all I'm going to say, though, is if it is going to be on TV, that, we can take some of the harm out of it. We can take some of get the guy off the gurney, do this, do that, do a few things to make it a little more civilized. And so what's wrong with that? What's wrong with the fact that, yes, okay, I'll accept a 10% solution. I'll accept a 20% solution. I'll accept anything that's in the positive direction. All right, but yeah, ultimately the fact of the matter is it is a rat game. We are Frankenstein. You can't win this thing. We've been constructed not to be happy. We haven't been constructed to be happy. This is a canard. It's a lie we're being sold. Go ahead,
I've heard you say that so many times, and I find that
say something dumb.
I mean, I find that to be untrue. Based on my own experience and the experience of the people I'm most familiar with. But go ahead and look. Is it Brian Steinborn?
Yeah, I was just wondering what you meant by winning the game or not having the game show.
Well, whatever. I can't hear you, Ryan, so your microphone sucks. But anyway, look, you're basically saying the same thing as Remy. But anyway,
Gary, you really need some manners. You are so rude to people who come in here to talk to you. Maybe you should just shut your effing mouth.
Goodbye. We'll see you later, you fucking cunt. You skanky cunt. I mean, add
He's
that.
being relatively polite.
Alright, so I will answer the question. Look, as you grow up, you look back on your life and you say, oh, that was embarrassing. Oh, I was an asshole there. Oh, Jesus, that was really dumb. Oh, I was really caught up. That was really dumb. I? I mean, you can see these things. Okay, you can see how the psychology owns you. I mean, I see it in myself in the sense that, like I said, I realized it was sports. I mean, I used to watch sports. I wasn't obsessed. I never bought a hat. I never had a hero team or any of that kind of crap. But yeah, I would watch a baseball game or I'd watch a football game, and then I realized, oh, what the fuck am I doing? What the hell is this shit? And you look at it now in hindsight, and it's almost laughable. I don't give a fuck about any of that. Will you jackasses either figure out how to use Stickam or go someplace else? Really? Turn your fucking mic off. Fuck off. Oh, you're go into a microphone. Man, you're fucking brilliant. Jesus Christ. Why do they let these people breathe? They shouldn't be able to afford oxygen.
They shouldn't be able to afford oxygen. I mean, looking back on things we've done in our past and being embarrassed or humiliated or ashamed of it, I mean, everybody experiences that, but for Christ's sake, if watching a baseball game is the best you can fucking do, you must have lived a pretty sterling life.
Well, whatever. I'm just saying. I'm using that as an example. All right. But yeah, I have lived a pretty sterling life. I was a damn good person. I mean, a fucking excellent human being. I delivered papers, newspapers, right? I delivered to some old people. I gave them their paper for fucking free. And I was 11 years old, and I already knew to do that. So I mean, yeah, I was a pretty goddamn good human being. But anyway,
what you doing right now, Gary?
Jesus Christ, will you please just go away, all you little retards? God damn it!
God damn it! Anyway, I think what you're about to say, I wish these assholes would shut the fuck up. Anyway, Gary, I think what you were about to say was when we look back at our lives, what we see is disgrace and humiliation and embarrassment. And I just heard you say, I lived a pretty goddamn sterling life, so obviously there's something to counterbalance that negative.
Yeah, well, I'm saying though, like, yeah, I lived but I didn't have a good time. I didn't like, oh yeah, it was all worth it. I really loved, the extra work I did. I loved that I ruined my back, and I loved that I did this, and I loved it. No, I'm not going to sit there and say I don't regret, and that I was a fool for some of that shit. I'm just saying that my character was never. I mean, I hated myself. I don't want to get into my whole psychology, but yeah, I mean, I didn't like myself. So I was always holding myself up to a pretty high standard, and so yeah, it was, I didn't have huge flaws because I had such a high standard I was living to, but it wasn't fun doing that. It wasn't fun competing with this damn high standard shit. I mean, it really got in my fucking way. But that really wasn't the point I wanted to get to. The point I wanted to get to is that through life you see the crap that controls you. All right, you gain a little wisdom and understanding. You become a smart rat. I mean, you start knowing what this game is, and you start seeing how it does play with you. And so you found a place in your psychology, okay, where you're invulnerable, okay? I mean, in a sense, okay, because yeah, you don't have common weaknesses. But you just said it before that most of the people I know are happy, blah blah blah. But I could give you 5 million examples of look at the rich and famous. Look at their kids. Look at the soap operas that go on in those lives. They have everything monetarily. They have everything ego-wise. They've satisfied. They've accomplished. They've become successful. So what? And look at the mess they make of their lives. Because why? Because they always want more. Because they always want fucking more.
No, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you in saying there are a lot of different ways to live badly. But for me, it comes down to this, and I'm not claiming to be invulnerable, by the way. That would be ridiculous. But for me, it comes down to this question of whether I'm glad that I was born. And yeah, the answer is sure.
So far, anyway. Not that, I hope it keeps working out that way for you. but that's sort of the thing. Like I said, there are people
Well,
who,
I understand
there's
there will
people
be
who
pain and
enjoy.
tragedy and loss in the future.
But that's sort of the thing.
Sorry, a little bit of lag.
Yeah, that's the vein of my Stickam experience. Everybody seems to hear me about 30 seconds after I've spoken. What I'd say about this life is just that it's interesting. I'm not going to claim it's, at the end of the day, that the positives outweigh the negatives, but compared to non-existence, why not? We have all time, as far as we know, not to exist. Why not?
I don't even understand that concept. That's so Professor Anton. You compare your life to non-existence, like somehow well, compared to non-existence, this kicks ass. I just don't get that. I just don't. I mean, how can you compare it to a complete neutral? I mean, a non-existent state. It isn't a state. You can't make that compare. I mean, it's not apples and oranges. It's apples and nothing. You can't compare apples to nothing.
I'll take the apples, Gary.
Yeah, again, you'll take the apple, so that means, alright, so if I'm born with, elephant man disease, it's okay. If I get Lou Gehrig's disease when I'm 21, it's okay. If this happens and that happens, and you have to, I'm just saying, there's nothing that scares you, and that's the part that really bugs me, is these people who sit there and say, okay, oh yeah, well, I gotta have a brain transplant tomorrow, no big deal. Yeah, it'll be fun. I just don't get it. I don't get how you can be so fucking passive, so fucking like, well, yeah, so well, okay, there's a homeless guy over there eating his own shit. Oh yeah, well, no biggie. Consciousness, having fun.
Well, you're talking to somebody else. You're not talking to me. Hey, by the way, is sub-DNA still in the room?
I'm talking to you. You're the one saying it. You're saying it's better than nothing. You're saying the coldest, wormiest, maggot-infested gruel is better than no gruel at all.
I never said that. I said, speaking from where I am, I'm glad for this opportunity to exist. I don't want it to go on forever, but for the time being, I'd rather have had this ride.
Aren't we talking about aren't we talking about the common, not average is kind of a cruddy word to use, but aren't we talking about the average life experience? I mean, first we're talking about the average human life experience, and then basically I'm talking about the average conscious organism's experience. I mean, isn't that what we're supposed to be referencing? Like I said, I did say you're in this exceptional position where, yeah, life doesn't get to you, okay? It hasn't really crushed your nuts from your perspective, okay? So you got iron nuts. I get that. But most humans don't, and they show it all the time, okay? I show it. All these, like I said, all these people who get everything in their life and are still taking antidepressants, they're showing it. They don't have cast iron nuts.
Well, I mean, I think I'm probably more average in that respect than you are, Gary. But I don't know, what data have we got to go on here? What exactly would the data be? Ask 100 people, and how many of them would say, "Yeah, I'm glad I'm here." Who knows?
Yeah, that's the wrong question. That's like asking Frankenstein. It's like asking Frankenstein. Frankenstein, are you really cool? Kick-ass Frankie? Are you attractive guy, Frankie? And of course Frankenstein's gonna say, "Oh yes, me good looking. Yes, me fuck many women, whether they like it or not." Of course he's gonna be up his own ass. You don't ask people whether they are you a nerd and a jerk and a greedy, selfish asshole? I mean, there's no fucking point asking people that question.
Well, Gary, who else are you going to ask? Since by your definition, we're all Frankenstein, who the fuck else are you going to ask? about life than
Well, I'm just saying you can't ask them for that conclusion because you won't get an honest answer. You'll get their fucking generic, I gotta preserve my own ego answer. So you have to come to the question has to be more like, well, how many times have you driven your car drunk into somebody's living room? How many times have you beaten your wife?